Marc Raimondi for MMAfighting.com outside Grant Sawyer office building in Las Vegas, Nevada. The most anticipated Nevada State Athletic Commission meeting, maybe in history, just wrapped up. Three of the biggest stars in the UFC had their fates decided, beginning with Jon Jones, who was granted a one-fight conditional license by the Nevada Commission to fight at UFC 235 on March 2nd against Anthony Smith. Also on the agenda was the UFC 229 post-fight brawl issues regarding Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Conor McGregor was suspended 6 months and given a $50,000 fine, while Khabib Nurmagomedov was suspended 9 months, which could be shortened to 6 months. I'll get to that in a second. And he was fined a whopping $500,000. That issue with Khabib's suspension is that if he films an anti-bullying PSA, a public service announcement for the commission that gets approved, he can have that 9-month suspension shortened to 6 months. That is significant because both guys will be able to come back if they wish to by April, which is a shorter suspension than many thought could be for them, although Nurmagomedov has already expressed some issues with the disparity in fine, $500,000 to McGregor's $50,000. Also, two members of Nurmagomedov's team who were involved in that UFC 229 post-fight brawl, Zubaira Tukhugov and Abubakar Nurmagomedov, were both suspended 1 year and fined $25,000. The bulk of the meeting on Tuesday surrounded Jon Jones and his hearing to get a license in Nevada. Of course, this is an ongoing process for Jon Jones, going back to July 2017 when he first tested positive for a steroid metabolite, a metabolite of oral turinabol. He was suspended in his USADA case for 15 months. He was able to return in December at UFC 232, but of course there was a caveat. That fight was supposed to take place in Nevada, where we are now. But the Nevada Athletic Commission, because there were some abnormal findings in Jon Jones' drug tests related to that steroid metabolite in August and September and later in December, the Nevada Athletic Commission at that point said, we do not feel comfortable licensing Jones for UFC 232 on December 29th. So the UFC, as we know, moved the entire event to California on December 29th. That fight ran. Jon Jones was licensed in California, and he was able to beat Alexander Gustafsson by third-round TKO to retain or I guess regain his UFC light heavyweight title. Now, the issue there with California and Nevada is that California was already up to speed on Jones and his drug test issues, this steroid metabolite that kept on pulsing, as they say, in his system. It comes up in some tests, it does not come up in other tests, and California, based upon the advice of scientists, some of whom testified today in front of the Nevada Commission, felt like Jones had not taken any new drugs, had not taken that same drug over again. It was the same metabolite that was found in his system back in July 2017, and they felt at that time that he should not be suspended again for the same metabolite that was in his system 17, 18 months ago. They did not want to enact double jeopardy, so to speak, on Jones. So with all of that information coming into this hearing on Tuesday in Las Vegas, there was testimony from Dr. Daniel Eichner, who is the lab director at the Smyrtle Salt Lake City lab, which is a WADA-accredited lab. There was testimony by USADA executives, and ultimately they came to the decision, the same way that California did, that Jones should be licensed. They're going to give him a one-fight conditional license. He's going to be drug tested at least twice a month, if not more, by the Nevada Commission, in addition to the testing that's being done by USADA and VADA under CSAC's guidance. So a lot of drug testing to come for Jon Jones over the next 5 weeks or so until his fight with Anthony Smith at UFC 235. And then once that fight is over, the Nevada Commission also stated today that Jones will have to continue to do this rigorous testing until the end of 2019 or beyond to figure out why these picograms of the oral turinabol metabolite, the M3 long-term metabolite, keep on popping up in his system, going on almost 2 years at this point if it continues later on into the year. Worth noting also that Jon Jones, in his in-competition test on weigh-in day related to UFC 232 on December 28th, also tested positive or had an abnormal finding for those picograms of the M3 metabolite of oral turinabol, the DHMCT. A lot of acronyms, a lot of USADAs, a lot of WADAs, a lot of VADAs, a lot going on today in Las Vegas. But bottom line, Jon Jones can fight at UFC 235, and Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov, they're getting fined, but they can both return to the octagon in April. For Marc Raimondi outside the Grant Sawyer State Office Building in Las Vegas, Nevada, stay tuned to MMAfighting.com for all of your coverage for this meeting and beyond.